The red warning light flashed again, biofilter at 1%. The voice of the ship's AI was calm, but Captain Rayan knew what it meant. 1% was almost nothing. Maybe 10 minutes of safe air left. Maybe less, or Rayan sat in the pilot seat of the small scout ship Eco-7. His suit hissed softly, trying to keep the toxic air outside. The gas outside this dead zone could kill a human in seconds. Even with full protection, it was risky. And now his suit filter was almost finished. Last patrol, he whispered to himself. He looked out the front glass. A strange green fog covered everything. Stars were barely visible through it. No ships. No planets. Just empty, deadly space. This area was called the Krell Zone. Long ago, it was full of life. Now, it was a graveyard of dead ships, silent satellites, and broken hopes. The Krell War had ended here. No one came anymore. Nothing survived here, except beep, beep. A signal, weak, broken, not human. Rayan leaned forward. Computer, analyze. Signal source, the AI replied. Unknown origin. Non-human frequency, coordinates locked, distance 6,000 kilometers. Rayan's eyes narrowed. Someone's in there? The voice said nothing. Rayan knew he should return. His orders were clear: don't engage with unknown signals. Especially not here. His oxygen wouldn't last. His ship couldn't fight. But he also knew something else. Someone was calling for help. He pressed a button. The engines groaned as the small ship turned toward the signal. As Eco-7 moved deeper into the toxic fog, static covered the screens. Lights flickered, metal creaked. Rayan held the controls tightly. Come on, girl, just a little further. The signal grew stronger. Suddenly, through the green mist, he saw something, a shape, small, broken, floating. Rayan zoomed in. It was a pod, round, black, covered in alien writing. Parts of it were burnt. One side was open, but a soft blue light blinked from inside. Scanning, the AI said. Life form detected. Weak pulse, unknown species. Rayan's heart beat. Faster? Still alive? Barely. He brought the ship closer. The pod was spinning slowly. He used the ship's robotic arm to catch it. The arm locked onto the pod and pulled it toward the docking bay. The airlock closed with a hiss. Red lights flashed. The AI spoke again. Warning, alien biology may be dangerous. No translator match, no record of species in database. Rayan walked to the small med bay. The pod was inside. A cracked glass window showed the alien inside. It looked like she had silver skin, long black hair, and glowing blue veins. Her eyes were shut. Her body was shaking. Her armor was cracked. Blood dark purple was slowly floating in small drops. She looked young and dying. Rayan stared at her. Is she here? What is she running from? He should have reported it. Should have turned around. But he didn't. Instead, he connected a small oxygen line from the ship to the pod. Don't die, he said quietly. Not now. The ship lights flickered again. Biofilter at 0.7%, the AI warned. Rayan didn't care. He was already adjusting the ship's route. New destination? The AI asked. Rayan replied, nearest Alliance outpost. That is 11 hours away. Oxygen will not last. Then let's be fast. He sat back in the pilot chair, sweat on his forehead. What was he doing? Saving a strange alien? Breaking every rule? But deep in his heart, something told him this was the right thing. Maybe she was innocent. Maybe she was important. Maybe she was the last of her kind. As Eco-7 turned and burned through the fog. A shadow moved behind them, large, silent, watching. Rayan didn't see it, but something else had found them too, and it wasn't friendly. The silence inside Eco-7 was heavy. Rayan sat alone in the cockpit, watching the stars blur as the ship moved too fast for safety, but not fast enough to save a dying life. The alien girl lay in the medbay, still unconscious. Her breathing was weak, slow. The medical screen blinked red. Her pulse danced like a candle flame in wind, never steady, always close to fading. He didn't even know her name. She had no ID, no translator code, no species match. Just strange armor, glowing veins, and a damaged escape pod covered in alien symbols. Rayan's fingers hovered over the console. He wanted to call for help, wanted to tell command what he found. But the rules were clear. Unknown contact equals quarantine. Quarantine equals death for both, and still, he stayed silent because there was something in her eyes when they opened for just 1 second that he couldn't forget. Not fear, not pain, trust, even without words. She had looked at him like she knew he wouldn't leave her behind. Biofilter at 0.4%, the AI reminded him. You must return within 1 hour or face critical failure. Rayan ignored it. Instead, he opened the ship's internal camera feed. He zoomed in on the alien pod now sitting in the cargo hold. The lights inside were flickering, then click. A strange sound came from the pod's black box. Rayan leaned closer. Another click, then a short electric hum. And suddenly a hologram popped up. It was fuzzy, broken, full of static. But it showed something. A tall figure stood in the center, cloaked in flames. Behind him, dozens of warships, flying in formation. The sky burned red, explosions tore through cities. Alien children screamed and ran. And in the center of the chaos, the same girl Rayan's passenger stood with a sword of white energy, fighting them all. The hologram glitched again. And then it ended. Rayan stared at the empty screen. Who was she? And why was she alone out here, floating in a dead zone filled with poison? He rushed back to the medbay. Her eyes were still closed. He checked the medical scanner, critical. She needed medical attention now. And then her eyes opened, slowly, glowing faintly blue. She looked at him, tried to speak. No words came. Just a soft whisper like wind inside metal. Her lips moved strangely. Rayan pointed at his ear. I don't understand. Can you try again? She tried. The word meant nothing to him. But the way she said it wasn't just a name. It was important, like it carried weight, like it was a promise. Then her body jerked. She coughed. A dark liquid spilled from her lips. Rayan acted fast. He injected a stabilizer. The ship shook slightly as he increased speed again, but then... Alert, new signal detected. The AIS voice turned sharp. Signal origin, same frequency as alien distress beacon. Signal type, tracking beacon. Rayan blinked. You mean, she didn't just send a distress call, she sent a beacon? Affirmative. Tracking signal now active. He ran back to the cockpit. The radar showed a dot, bright, pulsing and moving. Closer. Not one ship. 3, unknown design. No Alliance ID, dark and fast. He understood now. She wasn't just lost. She was being hunted. Rayan turned off every outgoing signal. Shut down the beacon, killed the lights, even cut power to non-vital systems. The ship dropped into stealth mode, silent, cold, but it was too late. The enemy ships were already heading their way. He checked the time. 7 hours to the nearest station. He wouldn't make it, not without fighting. Not without being found. He walked back to the med-bay. She was awake now, barely. She looked at him again. Rayan crouched beside her. I don't know who you are, he said. But they're coming for you, and I don't have much time left. She raised her hand weakly, pressed 2 fingers to her own temple, then gently touched his forehead. Suddenly a flash of light. A jolt through his brain. Images filled his mind. Planets burning, children crying. A tall man with black eyes and fire in his hands. Her voice in his mind, full of fear. He will find me. You must not let him win. Then it stopped. She collapsed again. Rayan gasped. His chest was tight, but his heart was clear. This girl, this alien, was not just a victim. She was carrying something dangerous, something powerful. And now he was part of it. As the enemy ships grew closer, Rayan strapped in. Computer, he said calmly. Prepare for evasive maneuvers. Set weapons to auto-defense. Warning, the AI replied. This ship is not equipped for battle. Rayan smiled sadly. Neither am I, but we don't run today. Outside, the stars blinked, and the hunt began. The first shot hit the ship like a hammer. Echo 7 spun slightly, warning lights flashing everywhere. Rayan grabbed the controls, fighting to keep the ship steady. Sparks flew from the main console, shields down to 40%, the AI reported. Damage. To left thruster, Rayan gritted his teeth. The enemy ships were fast, silent, and deadly. They didn't send messages. They didn't demand surrender. They just opened fire. He rolled the ship hard to the right, flying into a thick cloud of toxic gas. The enemy followed. Status of the girl? He asked, still unconscious. Vital. Signs low, the AI replied. Rayan's chest ached. His oxygen was almost gone. His head felt light, his fingers slow. The medbay's air supply was now connected to her pod. Not to his suit. He had made that choice, and he didn't regret it, but regret or not, he was running out of time. A second blast rocked the ship. The power flickered. One of the backup engines? Failed. They're going to break us apart piece by piece, Rayan muttered. Unless... He stared at the screen, then made a choice, opening external cargo bay. Warning, the alien pod is inside. Opening the door will risk her safety. Just do it, the cargo bay door hissed open. The pod sat in the center, still glowing dimly. Rayan pressed a button. Clank. The pod unlocked. Slowly, the front hatch opened. Inside, the alien girl lay motionless. Then her eyes snapped open. They weren't glowing blue anymore. They were burning white. She gasped sharply, like someone coming back from the dead. Her body twisted, cracked. As she stood, she stepped out of the pod barefoot on cold metal and stared into the blackness of space. And then she screamed, but it wasn't fear. It was something else. It was anger. It was power. The scream didn't come from her mouth. It came from her whole body. Her skin glowed, her hair lifted as if touched by invisible fire. Her chest pulsed with light. Rayan watched from the cockpit, stunned. What is she? He whispered. The enemy ships locked on again. Too late. She raised one hand toward the sky. A circle of burning white symbols appeared in front of her. Her other hand made a second one. The AI spoke, confused. Detecting unknown energy field, then the symbols exploded into fire. Twin beams shot out from her palms, not lasers, not weapons, pure force. The beams tore through the darkness, hit the nearest ship, and ripped it in half. No sound, just light. Pure, blinding destruction. Rayan shielded his eyes. When he looked again, only 2 enemy ships remained. They broke formation, trying to escape, but she wasn't finished. She floated forward, no suit. No mask through the open cargo door, her feet barely touching the floor. The toxic fog outside didn't touch her. Instead, it burned away from her like smoke from a flame. She's not human, Rayan said. The second ship turned and fired. Missiles roared toward Echo-7. She raised both hands. The missiles stopped in midair, hung there, turned around, and flew back. The second ship vanished in a fireball. The last enemy ship didn't fire. It ran. The girl stared at it for a long moment. Then she slowly walked backward into the ship again, her light fading, her glow dying down. Her knees buckled. Rayan ran to catch her. She collapsed in his arms, barely breathing. Her skin was burning hot. You saved us, Rayan said. She opened her eyes. They were soft again. Human-like, tired. I tried, she whispered. Rayan carried her back to the med bed. Her body was light, fragile. Tell me your name, he said gently. Please. She blinked. Struggled. Then finally whispered one word. Elia. Rayan repeated it. Elia. Her fingers touched his chest. Weak. Barely moving. You gave me air. You gave me a show, he smiled weakly. She tried to laugh, but it turned into a cough. Her pulse dropped again. Don't talk, he said. Just rest. I'll get you there. But his suit beeped again. Oxygen level, 2%. Time remaining. 6 minutes. He sat on the floor beside her. The ship was quiet again. The stars outside returned to normal. The enemies were gone, but Rayan was dying, and he knew it. He looked at her, this strange girl who breathed fire, who destroyed warships with her hands, who floated through poison like it was air. And yet she was just a girl, alone, lost, and now, for a little while, safe. He leaned his head back, closed his eyes. If this was the end, it wasn't the worst way to go. He had saved a life, and maybe, just maybe, it would matter. Rayan opened his eyes to darkness, not the peaceful kind. Not sleep, the kind that comes with cold air, broken lights. And no sound. The ship was drifting. His breath was slow, shallow. The air was thin now. Every second felt longer. He touched his helmet's side. It didn't respond. Oxygen, 0.3% low. Buzzed in the walls. Emergency power only. The stars outside the cockpit were still. The danger had passed. For now, but something was wrong. He looked over his shoulder. The med bay was empty. Alaya was gone. Rayan tried to stand, but his legs felt like stone. He leaned against the wall, pulled himself toward the bay. Alaya? He called, his voice cracking. No answer. The hallway lights blinked dim red. Panels had been torn open. Wires hung like vines. As he reached the cargo bay, he saw her standing there, looking out the open door into the black void. She was silent, still glowing faintly from within. "You shouldn't be up," Rayan said. Gasping, she didn't turn. Then she whispered, "They found me." Rayan froze. "I thought we lost them." "Not them," she said. "Him." Before Rayan could ask more, the ship's AI came back online with a broken, flickering voice. Long-range scan. One vessel detected. Unknown signature. Closing. Distance. Estimated arrival. 19 minutes. Rayan felt it before the words sank in. The kind of fear that presses on your chest before you know why. He limped to the console. Powered up the radar. One. Larger than any ship he'd ever seen. Moving in complete silence. Fast. "Is it a warship?" Alaya nodded. "No, worse, it's a hunter." She stepped away from the window and faced him. Her eyes were dim now. Her body seemed smaller somehow. Less powerful. The fire was gone. But not the weight in her voice. "Zerka," she said. Rayan recognized the word. The one she spoke when she first woke up. The one that meant something more than just a name. "What is Zerka?" She paused, then answered. "He was my protector, my master of defense. My blood guard. Then he betrayed my family. Burned our cities. Took our home, and now," her voice dropped. "Ugh. He hunts what's left of us." Rayan stared at her. "Your royalty." She nodded. "Or what's left of it," the AI beeped again. "Vessel has powered up advanced weapon systems. Energy. Field forming. Target locked." Rayan cursed under his breath. "I can't outrun that thing." Alaya walked closer, placed her hand on the console. "Then we don't run. We can't fight it," Rayan snapped. "You're barely alive." "I'm out of oxygen. My ship is patched together with hope." She looked at him, calm, tired, brave. "I don't need to fight it," she said softly. "I just need to slow it down," Rayan blinked. "You'll die." "I already died once," she whispered. "You brought me back." She opened her palm, revealing a small glowing crystal. It pulsed with the same white fire she used before. "This is all that's left of my family's legacy," she said. "It will blind him." For a while, Rayan shook his head. "That's suicide," Alaya smiled, just a little. "You gave me your last breath. Now let me return the favor." He stepped back. "No, there has to be another way. A signal. Beacon. Something." Then he remembered the black box from her pod. He ran back to the cockpit, dug through the box and found it cracked, burnt, but still glowing. He activated it. A quiet chime rang out. Alliance signal code, emergency royal class. Beacon activated. The AI confirmed it. Message received. Alliance flagship responding. Estimated arrival, 15 minutes. Rayan's heart jumped. We don't have to die today. But then, boom, a shockwave hit the ship. Not a direct hit, but close. The lights blinked again. The ship spun slightly. CERCA had found them. Shields failing, the AI reported. Enemy warship charging main weapon. Rayan ran back to her. We need a plan now. Alaya knelt, placed the crystal on the floor of the ship. A glowing circle of symbols spread around it. Help me, she said. Place your hand here. Rayan dropped beside her, pressed his hand into the light. The circle burned brighter, warmer. I can't stop him, she said, but I can hide us for a moment. Cloak the ship, give the Alliance time to reach us. The floor hummed, the air shimmered. The ship seemed to vanish into fog. But then, a sound like thunder. and a voice deep, ancient, not from this world. Elia, you are mine. Rayan's skin went cold, Elia's face tightened. Her eyes closed, and the hunt began again. The ship was quiet again. No alarms, no shaking. No enemy fire, only silence, but it wasn't peace. It was the kind of silence that comes just before the storm. Hits again. Rayan sat in the dim light of the medbay, staring at the floor. His oxygen was gone. The emergency reserve had been used hours ago. Every breath now was shallow, tight, painful. His vision blurred. His hands trembled. He was dying. Slowly across the room, Elia lay on the bed, eyes half closed, her skin pale. Blue. The glowing crystal in her palm had dimmed. Her body was weak. She'd used too much energy. Too fast. They had hidden the ship inside a false asteroid field using ancient tech from her pod. It had bought them time, but not much. Zerka would find them again. And this time there would be no escape. Rayan leaned back against the wall. He wasn't afraid. Not anymore. He just wanted to understand. Why you? He asked softly. Why? Is he hunting you across the galaxy? Elia opened her eyes. Slowly, tiredly. I carry what he fears most, she whispered. Which is? She didn't answer with words. Instead, she reached out her hand. Rayan hesitated. Then took it. Her fingers were cold. Light shimmered from her palm. Close your eyes, she said. He did, and then the room disappeared. Rayan wasn't on the ship anymore. He stood in a great hall of glass and gold, with suns burning above a crystal sky. Alien banners hung from the ceiling. A woman sat on a high throne, beautiful, proud, her skin silver like Elia's. It was her mother, beside her. A young girl ran barefoot through glowing grass, laughing. Elia as a child. Rayan smiled. Then the scene shifted. Darkness, fire, screams. A tall figure in black armor stood at the gates of the palace. His eyes burned red. His voice echoed through the air like thunder. Give her to me. Rayan saw the mother rise. You were one of us, Zerka. We trusted you. I was never yours, he replied. Then came the fire. Rayan watched the cities fall. People burn. The sky turned black. The young Elia was carried away by guards hidden in a pod. Launched into space, alone. Everything else was destroyed. Rayan gasped as the memory ended. He opened his eyes, breathing hard. They were back in the medbay. The lights flickered above them. What was that? He asked. My past, she said softly. I shared it with you. He stared at her, stunned. He killed your family, all of them. Yes, but why? What does he want from you? Now? She looked away, her voice quiet. He wants what's inside me, a code, a key. My father put it in my mind when I was a child, hidden deep. I don't know how to use it, but he does. It can open something. Something? A weapon, she said, or something older. Rayan felt a chill run through him. Zerka wasn't just chasing a lost princess. He was chasing power, something buried in Elia's mind. Rayan stood, wobbling slightly. We have to get you out of here. She looked at him, her eyes full of sorrow. You can't even breathe. He smiled, weakly. Still breathing. She sat up slowly, reached into her armor, and pulled out a small silver tube. What's that? Oxygen, she said. Made from my blood. It might kill you. Or it might keep you alive another hour. Rayan laughed. Sounds like a fair gamble. She handed it to him. He connected it to his mask and took a breath. It burned his lungs. At first, sharp, hot, then suddenly air. Real, clean air. His mind cleared. His legs stopped shaking. He stood taller. You saved me again. She smiled. You started it. Then the ship shook. Not hard. Just a small vibration. Rayan rushed to the console. The AI came back to life. Zerka's vessel, scanning field. Cloaking system degrading. Estimated detection in 11 minutes. Elia joined him. We have to move. Where? Anywhere. Rayan stared at the map. There were no Alliance outposts near enough. No wormholes. No help. Then an idea. What if we don't run? She looked at him, confused. What if we lure him, make him think we're broken? Make him come close, then trigger the pod's overload core. That'll destroy the ship, she said. I know, and us. Rayan didn't blink. Unless the Alliance reaches us first. She stared at him, then nodded. I trust you, he grinned. Bad decision. Together they moved fast, setting the trap, aligning the pod's core, sending out a fake distress burst. Zerka would come. They would wait, and in the middle of it all, a dying pilot and a hunted princess stood side by side, hearts racing, hope burning low but alive, because sometimes, even in darkness, memories bring fire. Rayan's hands were shaking, not from fear, not from pain, from the cold truth ticking inside his helmet. Oxygen, 0.9%. Time left. 4 minutes. His body felt lighter with every breath, like it was giving up without permission. But his mind stayed clear. He kept working, wires, codes, circuits, every move. Calculated, precise. The pod's overload core was armed now, hidden in the ship's engine. A trap that would go off the moment Zerka got close enough. A final card. Elia stood beside him, watching in silence. She had regained some strength, but her skin still flickered with pale light. Her pulse was faster now, more stable, but her eyes were heavy. They both knew the truth. If the Alliance didn't arrive in time, this ship would become their grave. Rayan sealed the last panel and stood up slowly. That's it, he said. Now we wait. Elia looked at the oxygen display on his suit. Her face changed. You're almost out. Rayan smiled tiredly. Yeah, I was hoping you wouldn't notice. Without a word, she turned and reached into the medbay drawer. From the bottom, she pulled out a small, round silver canister. He froze. A backup filter? He asked. She nodded. It's yours, he said immediately. No, she replied. I have enough oxygen in the pod line. You don't? He held up his hand. Elia? She stepped forward and placed the filter in his palm. It's the last one, she whispered. I don't need it. Rayan looked at the canister. So small. So simple. Just one more breath, one more hour, one more life. But then he looked at her, and he saw everything, not just the glowing skin or the silver veins or the prince's title. He saw the girl who had lost everything, who had burned with fire to protect him, who carried the key to something ancient, something the galaxy wasn't ready for, and he saw the future hers. Not his. He gently closed her fingers over the canister. No, he said softly. She blinked. What? I'm not taking it? Rayan, if I take this, he said, you die. Maybe not now, but later. You'll never reach the Alliance. They won't get the truth. Zerka wins. He stepped back. My job was to patrol empty space and report what I saw, that's all. He looked her in the eyes. But now, my job is you. She shook her head, voice trembling. Don't do this. He smiled, the same tired smile she had seen before. I already did. A sudden beep broke the silence. Proximity alert. The radar blinked. Zerka's warship had entered range. Rayan's trap was working. The cloaking field was weak, now flickering. The ship looked broken, vulnerable, exactly what Zerka would want. Rayan sat at the cockpit, strapped himself in, and looked over his shoulder. You need to go, he said. Now? Elia didn't move? Get in the pod? Launch toward Sector 9. The Alliance ship should be there by now. I'm not leaving you. Yes, he said. You are. He tapped the panel beside him. The escape pod hissed to life behind her. The door opened slowly. She took a step back. Her hands clenched. Rayan. He turned to her one last time. If you ever get the chance, tell your people I wasn't a hero. I was just a man who didn't like bullies. His breath was thinner now. The numbers dropped again. Oxygen, 0.3%. She ran forward, tears burning in her glowing eyes, and hugged him. Her hands held the back of his head. Her forehead touched his. I remember your face, she whispered. I'll carry it forever. He closed his eyes. Thank you, he whispered. She stepped back, and then she turned and entered the pod. The door sealed behind her. The light blinked green. Rayan watched it eject from the ship like a falling star. Elia was gone. He smiled through the haze. Press the final button. The overload core ticked faster now, glowing brighter, waiting. Outside, the massive warship approached. Zerka's symbol lit the sky red, sharp, cruel, and inside the ship, one man waited. Not afraid. Just ready. As the stars blurred in front of him, Rayan leaned back in his seat, his lungs burned. His vision dimmed, but his heart felt full. He had made his choice. He had given his last breath, not for orders, not for medals, but for someone who still had a future. A whisper escaped his lips, soft, almost lost in the silence. Humanity always bets on hope. And then he closed his eyes. Space was silent when the explosion came. No sound. Just light. A white flash bloomed in the void where Rayan's ship had been. The warship of Zerka, huge, dark, full of weapons, was gone in an instant. Nothing remained but fragments spinning. Through the stars the trap had worked, but so had the cost. Rayan was gone. Alaya saw it all from the escape pod. Her hands trembled as she clutched the cold edges of the viewing glass. Her body was shaking, not from fear, but from grief. 1 second he was there. Then he wasn't. Her pod moved silently through space, powered by what little was left in. The stolen tech. The stars outside looked different now, colder, farther. She pressed her forehead to the window. She said nothing. There were no words big enough. But in her heart, she repeated his last sentence again and again. Humanity always bets on hope, and Rayan had given her that hope. 3 weeks later, in the orbit of Alliance Central Station, a ship unlike any ever seen before docked gently at the edge of the main tower. Its hull was curved and silver, marked with ancient runes. From it stepped a single figure, tall, graceful, wrapped in a cloak of starlight. Her skin no longer glowed as brightly. Her armor was darker now, her eyes wiser. She looked older. Though only weeks had passed, she had seen too much. She had lost too much. The guards froze as she entered, scanning her biosign. The results flashed red, then gold, then something the scanners couldn't define. Royal class unknown. Species priority level Omega, one officer whispered. I need to speak to the High Council, she said, calmly. Now, inside the central chamber, the council sat in silence until she placed something on the table, a small device, black, burned, bent, the beacon. Rayan had activated before the end. She pressed it once. A voice filled the room, not hers, Rayan's. If you're hearing this, it means she made it. Elia closed her eyes as his voice played. She's not just another alien, she's more than that. She carries a memory, a warning, and a code that could save us or destroy everything. The council leaned in, listening. I gave her my last breath. I'd do it again. Silence followed. Then Elia opened her hand and revealed something else. A small crystal, bright white. Glowing softly, she spoke clearly now. This is what Zerka hunted, what my people died protecting. Inside. It is knowledge maps, science, forgotten truths. Some of it dangerous, some of it beautiful. One council member asked, why trust us with it? Elia looked up, because one of you trusted me with his life. Later that night, alone on the observation deck, she sat by the wide glass wall, staring out at the stars. She held a small, silver disc in her hand. It was Rayan's name, tag salvaged from the pod wreckage. The only piece of him left. A quiet voice spoke behind her. We've placed a statue in the Hall of Sacrifice, said Commander Voss, stepping closer. For Captain Rayan, he has no known family, but we've made him a place in our history. Elia nodded. Her voice was soft. He never asked me who I was. He just helped. He didn't need a reason. That's what made him human, Voss said. She looked down at the stars again. I want to carry his name, she whispered. Where I go next, I want others to know that someone like him existed. Voss placed a hand on her shoulder. We would be honored. Months passed. Then, deep in the galactic south, where no Alliance ship had ever flown, a silver vessel landed on a desert moon. Its engines cooled. The ramp lowered, and out stepped a woman dressed in dark armor, with a glowing crystal at her side and a silver name tag over her heart. Elia Rayan, a new voice, a new mission. She knelt before a group of survivors, children, refugees, families hiding from the chaos Zerka had left behind. I'm not a queen, she said. I'm not a warrior, she paused. Look to the sky. I'm just someone who was saved by a man who believed kindness still mattered. And from that day forward, people began to tell stories of her, not just of her power, but of the man who gave his breath so that she could carry hers. the human who lit a fire with his final breath. Captain Rayen. In a quiet corner of the hall of sacrifice on Alliance Station, his statue still stands. Simple, strong, eyes forward, the plaque reads, "He gave his breath so another could carry the flame." And above it, carved in every known language, humanity always bets on hope.